All right, ladies and gentlemen, it's pretty late in the night, and I am also very sleepy myself. But I saw Justice League for the fifth time, and in so doing, I saw uh, what I think is an Easter egg that you guys may or may not have seen. Now, I know that Jason Momoa talked about this already. He spoke about Aquaman having met Clark Kent when Clark Kent fell into the water, and we saw the two whales, the mother whale and the calf. But it's interesting at the end of the movie when Aquaman is heading back, what seems to be to Atlantis in the sea, you see him dive past a whale and a calf as well. And I thought that's a shout out to Man of Steel. So I thought I would talk about that. And there are a couple other Easter eggs that I think you guys would not have picked up. But Lois Lane was speaking about why she was a reporter, and she talked about the engine of the world while it, and she was amused at how it ran while it ran. And that's kind of alluding to the world engine. So you remember the world engine, and then we have a change engine in Justice League in the form of a mother box. So I thought that was very interesting as well. Um, of course, there's the shout out in Easter eggs to, of course, that old opening scene. But I'm just really trying to cover some Easter eggs which other sites on YouTube haven't covered. They talked about Ares. You know, Ares leaped into the air, if you guys didn't know, and he attacked Steppenwolf, and Zeus hit him with a shot a lightning bolt at Steppenwolf. Whereas I think it's Athena. Now, some people are saying it's Artemis. I don't think it's Artemis. I think it's Athena that shot the bow and arrow at the ships, the apocalyptic ships. I think that was Athena. Zeus, you can see that the gods are much bigger. Of course, you saw the Green Lantern in the beginning, so you guys knew about that part. But when the video comes out or we get a digital copy of the movie, we'll be able to show you in much more detail. I'll be able to freeze and show you Ares, show you Zeus, Athena, and there's probably a couple others, you know. And then there's all the tribes of man. The Atlanteans, we find out they used to be land people, and then apparently the sea came and covered them. There's an illusion. There's a reference to the Atlanteans facing the Amazonians. There was this big clash and big war between the Atlanteans and the Amazonians that Arthur Curry, aka Aquaman, speaks about. And then it's cool to see that's an Easter egg as well, and that has to do with the throne of Atlantis and the war between the Atlanteans and the Amazonians. And then we have another very interesting thing, which is spoken by, I don't remember who. There is something else that's spoken. That's an Easter egg. I just can't remember what it is right now. I only got 10 minutes, so I'm trying. Time is just speeding away on me here. But I'm very, very sleepy. But I'm trying to get it here. There was another Easter egg. I'm pretty sure a lot of people did not catch on to. It may not come to me. It just may not come to me. But if it does, I'll let you guys know. um, yes, but I don't know the exact comic where Hippolyta actually signals Diana by shooting a flame arrow into uh, the Amazonians, like this place that's a historical site that's called, I think it's called the Throne of Amazonians or something like that. But I was trying to remember that Easter egg. If you got any Easter eggs at MC80s Entertainment, any Easter eggs that haven't been covered online here, uh, you know, you can actually talk about one or two of them, because I'm actually covering some of the Easter eggs that I didn't see anybody covering, right? So one of them is the signal with the flame that came into the throne, into the Amazonian sort of, I don't know what it's called, temple that Diana saw in the news. That's actually in a comic book. Okay. Um, And I'm thinking about some other things I didn't see people talk about. One of the things they didn't talk too much about actually was an interesting scene actually in Justice League where Batman said a certain thing. But anyway, um, let me see if I can remember, because there were a number of Easter eggs I saw in Justice League, and then I came back here to see New Rockstars. They covered quite a lot of Easter eggs there, and some other guys. But there's some other things, some other Easter eggs in this movie which were really awesome. Like Wonder Woman standing on the Lady Justice. Um, I think that's actually a callback to a comic somewhere, but I am not sure. I have to go and check. We know that Batman standing on the Skull Gargoyle, that's actually a comic. They covered that. I mean, various websites covered that. However, Superman also was, what did Superman do? Oh yes, Superman was holding the decapitated head of Superman, and that was a callback to, of course, BVS, where they had honored Superman, and he kind of represented the head of hope, right? But they did not cover the issue where Superman turned evil. So where there's evil. So actually, I think they did a callback to the Christopher Reeve Superman, and I think it was Superman 3, where he turned bad. So yeah, man, I'm still awake, Joe and Lewis, but I should be in my bed sleeping. I have to drink some tea and stuff to calm myself down and just get my body in order, because I have a lot of gas, suffice it to say. Yes, I noticed the shirt that Clark was wearing in the cornfield. Not only in the cornfield, but actually at the end of the movie, he was also wearing the coat that's exactly like the coat that Clark wore, older Clark wore in Superman 1978, and also the younger Clark wore in Superman 1978. That's more like the coat that he actually wore. Yes, I saw that. Yes, that's a good one. Good shout out to that. That's an Easter egg I didn't see anybody cover. That's true. But there's a bunch of Easter eggs, and they allude to different things, like Diana discovering the statues that Diana had in her hands from the guys who stole something, and the woman who was going with the police. That woman could have been Catwoman, and she probably stole along with the accomplices. And it's apparent that she stole an artifact for some villain or some rogue that's associated with Wonder Woman. I just don't know the name of the rogue. If you guys know the name, that would be great. But there's actually a call back to that. And then I'm trying to think of the other Easter eggs I saw that nobody else covered. There's about 4 of them I saw. But there's, I just wanted to talk about the Easter eggs in the movie. I think the rest of social media and the internet has covered some of the other Easter eggs, which are more obvious. But there was something that someone said in the movie, which was an Easter egg as well. Just can't remember what it is. Not "Do You Bleed"? That's the obvious one. And there were a couple others. No, I was talking about, could be Cheetah. That's right. Cheetah. That's the one. Cheetah. That's the one. Actually, Barry's warning to Bruce came to pass in Justice League. If you think about it, Superman kind of turned evil, and it was Lewis that was the key that turned him back. So that was fulfilled in Justice League, actually. MC80's Entertainment. And Darkseid's Forces Coming actually was fulfilled in this movie. So Justice League actually covered that, covered everything in the Vision. The Parademons, Darkseid's Forces, Superman turning bad. But if he didn't have Lewis, which was the big gun, Superman probably would have actually turned more evil, and then he probably would have sided with Darkseid's forces, with Steppenwolf, and then we would have had a problem. It was a serious problem, But remember, Barry had said, "Find us, Bruce. You have to find us." So there, Bruce went and started finding everybody, right? So maybe Flashpoint Paradox may explore that or not. We'll see. Like Joe and Lewis is saying. I got about, ooh, my time's almost up, guys. This was just a short thing. So I went to see Justice League a fifth time. I can't remember the other. It's so bad. I should remember these things. Oh, it has something to do with Cyborg. It's something to do with Cyborg. What was it? Oh, yeah. But I think people covered this already, that he was looking more like Cyborg at the end with his father. He was getting the upgrade. And of course, everybody knows Cyborg said "booyah" at the end. Oh yeah, this was it. This is the good part. Now, Cyborg said "booyah" like Cyborg usually says in the comics and otherwise. But here's the thing. In the end, Steppenwolf was overcome by fear, and then he went up into the boom tube. And I remember Ray Fisher breaking down what "booyah" means. He said it like this: "Boo, yeah," meaning boo. Look, you're scared. Yep. So booyah. And I thought that was kind of cool that he actually says booyah, but it actually has meaning behind it, you know? Because Steppenwolf got stupid and the parademons pounced on him, and then he was carried away. So I thought that was dope. Oh yeah, nobody's covered this. Nobody's covered this one. The entire Justice League cast lined up on top of that wall, and the angle is actually from a Justice League animated series where they actually stood on a wall like that. And nobody covered that. I don't know. Nobody covered that, man. What else? What else we got? I don't have the exact episode though, but I'll find it. So I'll show you guys. What's the other one? Of course, Superman lifting up the huge building apartment complex that he flew away with. That's been seen in Superman. Is it Peace on Earth? I can't remember what it's called. Superman Peace on Earth, where he actually lifts up a whole complex, a whole building. He also picks up a boat, a ship, I think. So it kind of comes from there. Of course, we can always look at the shout out from Superman 1978 as well. What else do we have? What else we have? We have a couple of them, man. We got a couple of them. I just can't remember them. Oh, yes. Nobody really talked about this. Well, actually, they did. They talked at length about this. But we had Prince and we had David Bowie in the beginning, right? With Superman. But it's what the article's actually saying. It's actually saying that what do they call that? There's mysterious losses or disappearance or something like that. And it says, will they return? And it's interesting. Superman returns, right? I can't remember what the exact words are, but it's the exact words I wanted to actually talk more about. Don't worry, guys. You see me looking all over the places because I heard a noise and it's dark in the night. I don't want to disturb anybody. So, yeah, I can't think of anything else right now. Maybe somebody's shuffling stuff. It's probably my neighbor. Yeah. Yep, it's probably my neighbor. Did they return to their home planet? Who's they you're talking about? Who's they? What else do we have? But they have. There were some clippings. There was a clipping with. Oh yeah. The news article. Yeah, it's the news article I was talking about. Yep, with David Bowie and Prince, and then Superman. Yep. Correct. Yep. Yeah. That was a callback to David Bowie actually inspiring the song, which was Heroes. And he died this year, as well as Prince died this year. And Prince also was responsible for being in a Batman film. He did some of the soundtrack and the score for Batman film. So that was kind of nice. Shout out to those two guys. But I think you guys knew about that already, so that's nothing new. Can't think of any other Easter eggs right at this point in time, but I actually had a couple in mind while I was going through. I can't even remember the name of the site that was publishing the thing. I need to go to sleep, folks. I need to go to sleep. But yeah, Justice League, man. If you got some more Easter eggs, pop some Easter eggs at me, man. We had Easter eggs. Nobody talked about the Easter egg of the Flash running. You know, the Flash running, not racing Superman. We know about the racing Superman part. For the Flash actually running and using the Speed Force, that's in all kinds of comics and in all kinds of television series. Nobody really talked much about that. How he was moving and everything was that would have been cool. How Superman was brought back to life is very simple. It's very similar to Return of Superman, but I think a lot of you guys know that already. Um, Actually, there's a ton of Easter eggs, and I noticed people only covered some of them, just some of the Easter eggs in this movie. I was looking at a number of things in this movie, but it's like I've drawn a blank somewhat right now because I'm so sleepy. But probably tomorrow I'll really be able to lay out some of the other Easter eggs that I saw that I think a lot of people missed in the movie. Um, yeah, Cyborg is something with Cyborg again that I was supposed to bring to my. What is it, man? I can't remember. Cyborg. There's something with Cyborg in this movie. Um, right. I remember now. When Diana first meets Cyborg, there are two things. Two things actually that's a callback. When Cyborg was manipulating the computers in Wayne Manor to talk to Diana, that's actually from the comics. And then when he appears with Diana and the street lights, he pulls all the energy, all the current from the street lights and stuff, and they pretty much shut down. And then when he leaves, everything comes back. That's actually from, I think it's either from Justice League War, one of them. You got to go check it out, or it's from a comic. I can't remember which one. Maybe it's the comic based on Justice League War. The Cyborg pulls all that energy to be able to do what he has to do. And trying to remember if other things that were actually callbacks to Justice League. Some other callbacks to Justice League. I'm way too sleepy though. I'm way too sleepy. Oh yeah. Did you know? I think I saw this somewhere else, but I just needed to bring this up. Did you know that Zack Snyder was into the politics of what was going on? You know, there's the guy who actually was attacking the Islamic lady. He had some acronyms on his back that had to do with, I believe, a movement in the United States. I definitely didn't see this movie again, man. But I'm so sleepy right now. I'm getting sluggish. I watched it tonight, and again, people laughed and people. But this is a very heavy movie, man. It's a serious movie. It's got the sprinkles of humor, but it's not really funny. And the more I look at the movie, I realize Joss Whedon hardly touched this movie, man. He hardly touched this movie, man. This is definitely a Zack Snyder movie, you know. Oh, this was cool. One of the moments in the movie, the song talks about the plague coming, and it's coming fast. And then Wonder Woman, when she lassos the guy who, one of the terrorist guys, he's talking about this plague of aliens, this invasion, and they are there to make a statement about it. And I found that, man, I really want to sleep. And I found that really interesting that the song speaking about the plague, and then immediately after, the terrorist explains what the plague is. I thought that was pretty cool. That's an Easter egg right there. If you haven't read the New 52, it's like a plague of locusts, the plague of parademons. So that's basically what he's alluding to, which I thought was pretty interesting. The pigeons in the coop. The pigeons in the coop with the newspapers. The newspapers were there to keep the pigeons from pooping on the actual floor of the coop. I thought that was interesting, and I still don't know the parallels why Zack Snyder used pigeons in the coop, It can mean, people trapped. But I do believe that that visual imagery, by the way, if you guys haven't seen uh, Snow, Steam, and Iron, Snow, Steam, Iron, which is Zack Snyder's short film, I advise you guys to go see it. It's again, visually, it's a beautiful film. It's got some nudity and stuff in it and violence, but it's really good. Zack Snyder, again, this time he decided to use no words. It was just a visual tapestry, but it's dope. It's very dope. And for those people who say Zack Snyder doesn't do strong female leads or interesting female characters, and he doesn't give respect to women, man, you need to watch these movies, man. Anyway, coming back to what I was saying, yes, it's a shout out to the biblical locust like a plague from the different plagues of Egypt, but it literally also is, they're called a plague in the comics as well. There's allusion to the comics, and I just wish I could give you some more Easter eggs here. Estelle Javel, hey, this is my cousin. What are you doing up this late in the night? What's an Easter egg? Well, an Easter egg, for your information, is it's basically a callback to something in literature or something in life or something in movies and films. It's a sort of callback to that. It's a reference to that. For example, I don't know what movies you've ever seen or anything you've seen, but okay. So I don't know if you've ever seen the movie Justice League, but Justice League is basically, I don't know if you know what the Justice League is to start with, but the Justice League is basically a group of superheroes. All right, it's a superhero movie. So it's got Superman and Batman and so on. And in that movie, the director, he sometimes makes reference to other movies. He makes reference to comic books. He may make reference to actual events and things happening in society today. And these are called Easter eggs. So for instance, when I was talking in this discussion about, there's this newspaper article with Prince and with David Bowie and with Superman, and all three of them have been lost that year. And basically it's a reference to them. But Prince actually did work in Warner Brothers with a previous superhero film called Batman. And David Bowie, he was in a Warner Brothers film as well called Watchmen. And so it's kind of shout out to them. And then the messages they were giving, also it's a reference to their messages that they carried, messages of humanity coming together and sort of talking about social events, but really in the hope of people becoming aware of these things and hopefully moving into a positive future. All right. So that's what Easter eggs can be. They don't necessarily have to be political. They don't necessarily have to be real events. They can be from comics. They can be from whatever. So that's what Easter eggs are. Yes. So yeah, the parademons, they're like locusts, man, Joe and Lewis. That's right. Yeah. I was thinking about another Easter egg I saw in this movie, and it had to do with the family that was actually under siege by the parademons and stuff. And I was wondering why the parademons didn't just enter into the house and overtake them. But apparently these parademons, because they were outdoors and they were sealed up in the house, maybe they couldn't smell them. That's my rationale. But I think that entire scene actually comes off from another movie. But I'm not too sure which movie it is. So that's pretty interesting as well. Actually, the New 52, Batman was trying to take out a tower as well. There was Robin with him. But in the New 52, when Steppenwolf invaded, I believe Batman took out a tower in that invasion. So it's very interesting. He died trying to take out the tower to send some signal or whatever. He died, but in this movie, he didn't die. He lived through it, but he was definitely going to die if the rest of Justice League didn't come and protect him. So that's very interesting. That's another parallel there. That's another Easter egg people have missed. There's just so many Easter eggs, and don't forget about the shots, the angles taken from scripts, sometimes straight out of they talked about Jim Lee and Jeff Johns' comic with the Justice League. Certain shots with the Justice League facing these parademons or facing these Batman actually facing a parademon on the rooftop. Which again, fighting a parademon on a rooftop is a callback to the 1989 Batman, who also fought criminals. Actually, Batman fighting a criminal on the rooftop is a callback to 1989 Batman fighting a criminal on the rooftop. So there's all that stuff in there. Man, it's so much. I mean, there's a lot of Easter eggs in this movie. I mean, they talked about even Jimmy, the guy who played Jimmy Olsen, how he was the guy that actually was tracking down the Flash for Batman and Alfred. You know, he was the one that pressed the red little button and stuff. You know, and hey, man, you better go do your work, brother. But I need to go to sleep. That's what I need to do. I need to go to sleep. But I just decided to talk a little bit about this movie before I went to sleep, because it's just a lot of stuff there. There was one more thing I wanted to reference, but I can't remember what it was. But yeah, Justice League movie, man. I've seen this thing 5 times. It's really a lot of fun to see it and be able to pick apart certain things. I really should have processed stuff. Man, you have a good night too. Yes, I definitely will keep the faith, both the faith of Jesus Christ and the faith in this movie doing well. Both of them. You know what I'm saying? All right, you guys have a good night, man. Have a good night.